Hello, everyone. I'm Mohammed Younas, founder and CEO of vFairs. And today, we're thrilled to dive into the world of event marketing with Stephan. Rachel is a visionary in the industry with over 2 decades of experience in event marketing, starting from her work in advertising to becoming a recognized expert in peer-to-peer influencer marketing. Rachel has a unique approach to building buzz and driving authentic engagement. In this episode, we will explore what it takes to make an event truly impactful, covering everything from creating memorable attendee experiences to leveraging post-event engagement. Rachel's insights into building excitement, managing attendee expectations, and evolving the landscape of event marketing will be invaluable for everyone and anyone looking to stay ahead in the industry. Let's get started. Rachel, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Could you start by telling us a bit more about your background? What first sparked your interest in the events industry?
And how long do you have?
As we
First of all, thank you for having me on this. It's been a pleasure to follow you and then now be able to have this chat with you. I've been in the event industry since 2001, and it's just by fluke that I really got started with it. It was in a publishing company that was all about events, and then I got the hook from there. It's like, this is interesting. I love this build up to get to the day. So that was very motivational for me, and I really got excited about it. So essentially started with doing a lot of marketing for events, corporate events, small events, and then conferences, then international ones, and ended up in the last few years as a tech founder also. So it's been a nice journey that I'm still enjoying the ride.
No, I of course follow you, and then just knowing about you being the tech founder. Tell us a bit more about Snowball. Tell us what led you to build Snowball. We'll come into your event agency part later on, but
Yeah.
I have seen almost no one who's running both an event agency and being a tech founder. So let's go to the tech founding part a bit earlier first.
Yeah, I mean that one came to me, any invention or innovation coming from a need. I think it's the market itself, and it's automatically has a product market fit. Having marketed events for many years in the past, and you were talking earlier, it's like it's such a challenge thing to get people to come to your events. Like, it's very stressful. So I'm always looking for ways to do this, and I noticed different behavior, different things happening when we were doing it. That in the events we were marketing, a lot of the people who are part of the events, from the advisory board, the people we're working with, whenever they got invested themselves, also personally, to tap into their connections and networks, and they have some sort of following, we saw, it elevated the event. It helped push the organic message from the brand voice. Like, okay, how can we do this more at scale, and how can we measure this? So that idea kind of sat in my head for a while. And then until one time, let's start somewhere. So we built a pilot project, small, just like that, just to try it out. We pitched it to our clients at the agency, and all of them pretty much loved it. And then we ran it. That's successful. We saw some early impact with that. So then it continued in parallel as an offering of the agency that was part of the strategy of marketing until COVID. When the pandemic hit, all the work on the agency side kind of slowed down, and then there was Snowball. Said, okay, what do we do now? Do we wait it out and see when we come out of this pandemic, or we're just going to go full force on Snowball? And that's the decision I took in 2020, is to go full force 100% on Snowball. It paid off as a bet. And then, I'm learning still as I go. I'm first a marketer before I'm a tech founder. So I always approach whatever we build, whatever we create in it from a marketing standpoint of what we'd like to see happen from a marketing point to help us get the result we want. That's always been the vision for Snowball.
Rachel, running one company is hard. You're running two of them in the events industry. Also, right now, just how do you manage your time between the two ones? And again, I know that sometimes when you say, oh, by the way, I work 6 hours here and then 6 hours there and then 3 hours there, you realize that, it's more than 24 hours, because that's the job of a founder. The sum of that does not come to be 100%, but just high level, which one takes most time and which one?
The one that takes most time, obviously, is Snowball for me right now. It's my focus. I spend a lot of time there, and I think this challenging part and the best part right now is being able to have a great team to delegate to. So at a position that, okay, now we have a good base and they have a team that they can run with things without me being involved in every single detail. So that's also key. Obviously, before, yes, we had to juggle and do multiple things and wear many hats and do so many things at the same time. It is a roller coaster. It's draining as hell, but it's so rewarding also at the same time. And I feel like right now it's like, okay, yes, I can breathe. So we can have, the team that we need to be able to support and sustain the growth.
So Rachel, we both discussed getting attendance to any event is becoming harder and harder nowadays. So even though if you might have the same attendance for any of the event, or even more, getting them sign up earlier is super complex. I haven't spoken to anyone out there who would say that, by the way, I have been able to get early sign up far better than what I used to do before. More and more people are signing up later, closer to the actual conference date. Walk us through just some of the best tips, tricks of how to get that part done. At least some of the things that you see are working now or you feel will be working in the future. Again, whether it's part of the Snowball platform or even beyond it, just what advice do you have for event marketers to just overcome this problem that they're all facing right now in the industry?
I think if anybody has a solution for that one, I'd love to hear. I don't think anybody cracked that problem yet, but it's a trend that we've seen across the board. And most of the events we work with a lot of different marketers we talk to, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to get people to sign up early on. They tried so many different things and different strategies to get people to sign up, and people sign up for many reasons. So it's trying to understand what drives people to sign up early. Sometimes the pricing is no longer an issue, so the early birds are not really cutting it. So you have to experiment a little bit with what is triggering certain things. Leading with content, being able to sample content, give them a little bit more what they should be expecting there, something that they won't expect or find all by themselves online. Involving their speakers, their thought leaders in order to, in your email communication, instead of sending, we have so many speakers and all that. No, but lead with content. Have that speaker maybe share some tips in advance about what they're going to be presenting. And then here, you want to learn more, make sure to show up. Showcase who else is going to be there. That's also one of the big drivers of why people go to the events, is seeing who their peers are. Because in some cases, yes, the content, you can get it a little bit everywhere. But the reason you go is that you need that one-on-one, you need that in-person kind of connection with people for whatever reason it is, whether it's career growth, whether it's business growth, whatever it is. You need that personal connection in person. So showcasing and showing who else is going to be there, telling stories of why people go, it's all like, it all adds up. There's no one solution really to solve this problem. Not a problem, a challenge, but it's a combination of many things that come together that will help build up. But the reality is everybody's doing it. Everybody's registering last minute for things.
And Rachel, again with you, what are some of those things that can? I totally agree that sometimes if you know that, by the way, other peers a lot of us attend events because of FOMO. If I don't attend it, what will I miss out on what the others would know?
Exactly.
What are best tips and tricks actually make use of that? How can one use, whether it's peer-to-peer marketing or influencer marketing, to actually push this particular just agenda of having people sign up a little bit early? What has worked really well for you, and which platform also? Is it working better on LinkedIn? Is it working better on Twitter or platform? So just a bit of your just guidance.
For me, the peer-to-peer influence and the influencer marketing, I start with the power of one. It's every single person at part of your event has influence. So everybody can have the chance to help drive or influence someone to maybe come to your event. Even if you bring in one person, that's one extra person. And that's the right person that you're attracting, because you're getting similar people than what you have. We sort of map out a little bit, like, who do you have at your disposal in a way that you can leverage? We can ask for them to help us promote. So you'll have your speakers. Yes, they want to promote themselves. They want to promote their sessions and all that. You have your sponsors. They do it anyways. Your exhibitors, they do it anyways. So how can we also give them something that makes it easy for them to share it and promote themselves? You have internal teams. I see more and more in that. Internal teams, people who are also in the front line talking to clients. They also they're in contact with the people that you want to bring in a way. So why not also leverage them? So internal employee advocacy in order to promote certain event partners, your venues, everybody who's part of that event. Just do a little bit mapping. Your advisory board, your CEOs, everybody who's involved. Everybody can promote it and provide their own perspective and angle to it from their own profiles and attract their connections to that. That's like a very low-hanging fruit one, cost-effective, straight from awareness to going to get it to register because you have the trust of the people. That's an important thing. Now you ask about which channel is the most effective one, and that varies from an event to an event, region to region. Everyone, it's different. And we did publish a report last year, a little bit of benchmark to understand a little bit the audience mapping and the audience behavior and where they're sharing it mostly. Surprisingly enough, then wasn't the top one. It was more private, and we do mostly B2B events, mostly private channels. So that considers email, SMS, Slack. Teams, WhatsApp. The combination of all these were higher than LinkedIn. Yes, you had LinkedIn after that, but the private channels were very effective in that. So yeah, you think if maybe a CEO or somebody C-suite, maybe they won't want to share on LinkedIn they're going, but they're going to send it to a group of people that they have. I see more and more WhatsApp being used in North America as well. I mean, we go to events, we start our own little mini group on WhatsApp, a bunch of people, and then we're recycling every year. So, okay, now we call it 2024 event, and then the same group of people, who else is going? And then we start chatting. So we're creating mini micro communities between each others, but we're all driving people. And then, there was an event. I went to Inbound not long ago, a couple of months ago. I wasn't going, but then, I was part of this group, and everybody that I know, not everybody that I know, obviously, but the group of people that I really wanted to be around and be with, mostly were going. It's like, I have to go. And that was on my bucket list to go anyways, but I was hesitant. But that gave me that push to say, okay, let's do this. And ended up registering and going. Leveraging those and having to kind of stimulate and enable word of mouth and give them something to talk about to get people to go, it's quite effective.
And how do you, so 100%, I agree with you that if we see people around us, mentioning that they're attending this event or the other, that's definitely a great push for people around them to also sign up. How do you make people do that? Even sometimes, your team members, your employees, etc. I see sometimes, like big companies posting things on LinkedIn, and it's rare that the entire speaker list or the entire employee list or that they would also go ahead and promote it accordingly. There has to be something for some of these people to do it. People who naturally do it, that's amazing. Again, people who posted things inbound that they're attending, which eventually made you sign up for a HubSpot inbound. But is there any formula to this one that, what are tools for this one that can make this a lot more easy? Because in a perfect world, everyone would want all of their speakers to promote this. Or all of their attendees to promote this, but very rarely people are able to get it done. So tell us a bit more about how can we create that encouragement if we can, and then what are some of the tools to make it easy, in Snowball or something else?
Yeah, there is a tool called Snowball. And there's other tools also in the industry that exist to do that. The tool is easy. It's also, it's a tool that is going to go out actively and proactively asking the speakers and exhibitors and handing them branded elements, branded copy that they can start with, that they don't have to do any lift from there. Obviously, they can update and adjust themselves, but at least you're not starting from scratch. So that's the first thing, is asking. And you get a lot of response usually when you ask. Sometimes people don't think about it. So you have to map a little bit on different spots where you can implement that ask or that social amplification to trigger someone to share it, whether it's in the email, in the confirmation email, on the event website, in the mass communication, just dedicated email asking them one thing is to actually share it to their network. That's one thing. That's the initial step. You watch the analytics typically because we can see exactly from our end who's doing what, if they shared it, where they shared it, how many people they referred, who they referred, all that. If we see that it's not performing, for example, to the level that we were expected to do for that sort of event, for example, that's when you start implementing or suggesting some sort of strategies to boost that engagement. And by boosting the engagement, what I mean, it could be introducing some incentives, for example, that will incentivize the participants with something special at the event. So not everybody's motivated by money. So it could be something, maybe you have a VIP experience, maybe you have access that is limited to certain ticket holders, but then if someone refers a certain number of people, well, you get that access, for example, or you get something, an experience around the event. So it's up to the event organizers, and then we work with them too to kind of identify what would appeal to that particular group of audience. Then you take your speakers, for example, different groups of audience. Maybe they're motivated by something else. Maybe they have a book that they want to promote. Maybe you want to give them an upgrade to their hotel. Maybe whatever it is that you want to provide them that would make sense to them. You go to the exhibitors, sponsors, the brand, what do they need? They want more visibility. Maybe they want extra tickets to give to their clients. Maybe they want to bring in more staffs to their booth. All of that, it has to be mindful of what the need is for that particular audience and try to work together with them to incentivize them and reward them for actually participating in promoting the event with you.
Thank you so much. Rachel, I know that you're similar to me. You're also based out of Canada. I'm assuming that you work with customers both in Canada as well as in the US. Sometimes, do you see any difference of running an event in Canada versus US? Which one is easier? Which one is harder? And, just some tips on how to go about one or the other.
I mean, it's funny enough that, we are based in Canada, but most of our clients are in the US and Europe, Middle East, Asia. They're all over the world. Very little in Canada, ironically enough. So also the fact that it's global, working with multi-languages is very important to kind of address and market to them with their language specifically. At the end of the day, we're people, regardless of where we are in the world. So if you start with that concept and base that you're marketing to a person, and then talk to them as a person, connect with them at that level, I think that transcends a little bit borders or nationalities of where they are. And then work on what matters to them and what their goal is, in a way, coming to your event, and try to serve them and then communicate to them how your event is going to help them attain their personal goals.
Yeah. And Rachel, do you see any budget difference between Canada and the US? And again, I know that same thing here. Like, we have a lot more customers in the US, Canada, purely because I think it's just the market. One market is far bigger than the other. But any other difference just of how, like, I don't know, people over here approach events versus people in the US approach events? Like, are budgets really higher or lower, or is it the same as just the market is bigger than Canada to begin with?
I think the sizes of the events obviously is much bigger when you look at the in the US than versus Canada. Here, the events, because they're smaller, obviously the budgets are going to be smaller as well. And then proportionally, when you go to the States, the market is much larger to serve, and their events are much larger as well. So when you have that in place, obviously they're going to have bigger marketing budgets for us to work with, although we're very budget conscious. And for us, it's more like it's an organic way to promote the event with your people. So the investment, when you compare it to what you would do with us, for example, versus what you would spend on Google ads or paid campaigns and all that, versus the results that you get from that one, it's way cost effective running something like a peer-to-peer marketing referral.
Rachel, this is US and Canada, but you work for both virtual and in-person events, I believe, specifically after COVID. Yeah. Is marketing tougher or harder for one format than the other one? Is it easier to get more people sign up for virtual or sign up for in-person? And again, do things, like, are things a bit different for one format versus the other?
I mean, we talked about earlier, people registering last minute for virtual, even worse, because they can sign up a few minutes before and decide to join. So the commitment is like it's even closer to the event. And usually, marketing a virtual event, 2-3 weeks before the event, that's plenty in a way. Depending on the event, if it's multiple days or we're talking about an hour event or 2-hour event, you don't need a lot of leadway to start promoting it. The show up rate on the virtual event is a little bit less versus an in-person. When you actually pay for something, you make travel plans, hotel plans, all that stuff. It's kind of hard not to show up. So that's at least something to work for you. Another driver for a virtual event, though, which I love and I think is so smart. I don't know if you're familiar with the email conference, the Guru conference that Jay Schwedelson puts on every year. That went on from 0 to 20,000 people, a virtual event within 2 years. And one of the key things that they started doing 2 years ago is that there's no on-demand. You have to show up to get the content. That was like, and he'd say, he get a lot of hate on that one, hate email. The attendance rate is extremely high. And then this year, something new that they did is that, okay, we don't do on-demand, but if you want to get or qualify to get the on-demand, you have to stay at least 60 minutes for the event. So you're ensuring that they're actually showing up and staying and being engaged with the people who are there. So there's different ways to kind of incentivize people to drive them to go register and stay for virtual events.
And so when you're marketing any of these events, whether virtual or in person, is there a certain thing that one would promote more than the other? It looks like for virtual, based on your example, it looks like the content itself is the key. That, by the way, if you want to get the content, then, attend it. For the in-person one, I know that every big conference we attend, whether it's HubSpot or SaaStr or a couple of others, right?
Yeah.
The content, but it looks like for them, it's the people, it's the networking. Like just anything that you have seen in some of these things where promoting one over the other might just push that restriction sooner than later for any of these formats?
I mean, you have to go with it all in the full front on all of them in a way.
Yeah.
All together will help to it. So there's not one that's going to do more than the other one. It's a combination of all of them. And then you need to watch sort of the results and keep an eye on the data. That doesn't lie. So once you start seeing, okay, if we tried this, did we get a good pickup from that? Is it because we offered a discount? Is it because we had this speaker that's coming and then we kind of shared this content? Is it because of that? So you need to watch a little bit what's happening every time you're communicating something and what is resonating with your audience to trigger them to take action to register or do something with that. And then double down on that. But obviously, you have to kind of go with multiple strategies all at once.
Yeah, that makes sense. Rachel, since you mentioned data, have you seen someone using that data to get the same attendance or having the same people who attended this year's event attend the next year event as well? Is there a bit of a different strategy for those type of people versus just getting brand new people? Do people sometimes just have a different tier of marketing efforts for, again, people who are joining again versus who are going to join the very first time that we need to sell them on the concept of this event to begin with?
Well, the ones that come before, they already know the event, what it is. So those, it's important to work with them, maybe reward them for their loyalty for coming. And they're great ambassadors because they know what the event is all about. So if they had a good experience and you got them to really engage and get something out of it that is valuable to them, they're going to be promoting your event for you. So it's extracting those stories from them and leveraging that and then rewarding them for their loyalties. For the new ones coming in, hearing it from people who are going there is also going to help them identify, it's like, why am I going? We always refer to others just to say, I'm thinking of going to this event. What do you think? We all have that in our private chats. Like, I'm thinking of going to this event. You've been there. Is it worth it? Leveraging each other like this is important. For new audience as well, when you look at event sites, we tend to see the same content over and over, and then almost the content assumes that you know about the event. Mm-hmm. So having something dedicated specifically for first-timers, fresh eyes, fresh perspective, and explain to them what is it like for them as a first-time attendees. What kind of experience can you also design for them when they get there so that you make sure they're not only coming one time, but they're coming back next year. So that becomes part of also the event design that the organizer would need to also take into consideration. These group of people, they're coming for the first time. What are we going to do with them to make them feel welcome help them get what they need and be able to kind of come back next year. And not only come back next year, become ambassadors so they bring in more people like them for the year after that.
Makes sense. Rachel, just trying to wrap up with last set of few questions. Which are your top 3 favorite events, conferences that you personally attend? Which one are the ones that you hate to miss?
Well, my first time was at Inbound HubSpot this fall, and I was amazed by what they did. It's not like anything I've seen before. It's like a festival, basically. A lot of beautiful activation. It doesn't feel like a trade show, which what it was. It was a home, almost a village that you kind of roam around. It's a festival. It was beautiful. The content was spot on. Everything, the whole experience was amazing. So I really loved it. The other one is I met, it's the reunion of our industry. Although it's huge, it's overwhelming. But at the same time, it's where you're going to find everybody that you know, follow, and want to know in one place. So it's a great place to be. So these are the 2 my top favorite ones so far.
Any Canadian one? Do you attend the CME conference or any other here?
No, I'm bad with this one. So yeah, the Canadian one I haven't been in a long time. I used to be part of a PCMA Canada East chapter, and we used to be part of the Canadian Innovation Conference that we do every year. I attended that for many years, but recently I haven't been. It's been there's the IEE Expo coming up in December too that I started going to, that I find it good size enough to be intimate enough and allow you to meet with people and have, solid connections and meetups with people that similar to you.
Rachel, thank you so much for your time. Again, for the audience, if they want to, again, follow you, learn a bit more about Snowball or about the agency that you run, where can they follow you, where they can reach out to you?
LinkedIn, this is my go-to place, so feel free to look me up and connect with me, and happy to chat, answer any questions, or just chat. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.